What's up everybody, it's Benjamin Spay here bringing you another LEGO video with today a new video for some older designs that I created because I didn't really like the old video. These are the 11 Toa Mangai MOCs that I created, and in this video I just want to talk a little bit more about the design. But before we get into that, the instructions and part list for these models are all available for free via the link in the description below. And everything here is a purist design, so no 3D parts printed or painted or whatever. Everything you see is what you can get for that matter. So here's the lineup from the other side, all 11 of them. And now let's just look at them one by one. We started of course with the team leader, Toa Mangai, not really a MOC per se, kind of more like a remake, just added a few extra parts here and there. Some tiles, some lift arms, and then the shoulder setup, which is fairly basic. You may already have seen that technique on some other MOCs online. It's a fairly popular technique to give them more articulation. I did add one thing in particular, which is a few extra pieces so he can actually stand on the shield rather than have it attached to his ankle, because I felt like that looked kind of weird. So I think that's a lot better now. Moving on, we have Toa Mangai, a fairly basic one as well. We'll get to the interesting ones soon. But this one just pearl light grey, dark green, basic airside, and a Volotech, the cannon mask. And I also kept the proportions of Toa Mangai, Toa Mangai, and Toa Tuyet largely the same because I felt like they need to fit together. Next up is Toa Tuyet, a little bit more interesting with a pearl dark grey, dark blue and black color scheme. And I chose those colors to represent her darker nature. And also gave her the Cow, which is not the cannon mask, but I do really love how the eyes shine through it. And also goes well with the 5-point crystal, which is supposed to represent the Nui stone. Leave her call shield there, pearl dark grey Nuva shoulder armor. And then the barbed broadsword, for which I used some of those Borak eyes, or teeth rather. And then the pearl dark grey connectors, which actually nicely complement with the color scheme. Then Toa Neo with sand blue and dark blue. And the Akaku, the mask of X-ray vision, because remember from the story she actually managed to slip through the Dark Hunter lines during the beginning of the Toa Dark Hunter War. Which allowed her to get reinforcements, and I thought, well, wall hacks would probably be fairly useful for that. So that mask made sense. And then also a throwable hook, inspired by the weapon from Sandfoot from Madness Day. Shout out if you know what I'm talking about. Sideway attaching arms with the Nuva armor kind of attached from the top. As I mentioned, some sand blue, some ingots there. Lift arms at the feet, make it a little bit more bulky, more stable. Similar to what we've already seen. And then tires around the arms, again, to make it look less fragile. Then we get to one of the most interesting designs, the Toa Mangai of Earth, with a lot of things happening here. We got the upside down torso, shield with a net, the mace staff, custom upper legs, different arm construction, and feet too there. So let's just start with the inverted torso. It was kind of tricky to figure out, because as soon as you invert the torso, you introduce problems with the dimensions, and as well as attachment problems for the head, because it kind of gets unstable. So you need to work around that. Added a few extra pieces to make it work. And then the arms attach a bit further outwards, like they extend a bit further to keep the proportions correctly. Then the upper legs, custom legs as I said. So you have the Likan length upper legs, so to speak, and then the Inika length upper legs. And then you have something in the middle, which is right here. You can't really use the Inika legs because I feel like they're too long. They don't really fit with the torso. So I just came up with these custom legs in the middle, kinda. Vaki legs there, Mata feet, shield with the net. I love how that turned out. Just wrapped it around it, attached it with some strings. Basic mace staff, and Nikakama, which is the cannon mask for this Toa. And here the previous versions used to be one of the most boring design of the bunch. I guess the upside down Inika armor is kind of interesting, but other than that the weapons are very basic and we don't have a upside down torso yet. And this is the second version, which is arguably even more stale. I suppose the upside down Mata arms there are somewhat unique, but still the basic weapons and just overall a basic design. Really happy with how I managed to improve it. Next up is the Toa Mangai of Stone, and what I like most about this model is the color scheme. Pearl gold, medium brown, dark tan, and then some Bionicle gold for the mask, but I don't think it looks too off. And I gave him the Bakari to add to his passive strength even further. Different Inika armor there, not the standard Metru knee cover, because that only came into Brutaka set in Pearl Gold, which is rather expensive. So we'll try to keep it a bit on the budget. Some of those Pearl Gold rings down there on the Vaki legs, a bit more Pearl Gold incorporated, and also newer style ball socket connectors in Pearl Gold. We haven't seen them in that color before. With the older ones, for example, the ones that are attached to his hands right now. And they do actually have more friction, so they're very useful in my opinion. And then the weapon, the basic axe, just a half, not like Axon's axe, a bit more balanced, I think. Next up is another really interesting model, the Toa of Plant Life, with a wild color scheme consisting of blue, green and dark green. Probably the most interesting feature here is the weapon, an inverted air katana from the Toa Liwa set, and then added it to a brown shaft there. Wrapped the string around it, added some leaves, and then on top is a Borok eye, which I guess could contain like some kind of poison or sleep powder or something like that. Would be fairly useful. For the mask here I gave him the Kanoe Zath, so again not the cannon mask because it's supposed to be the mask of healing, but I think this is a nice representation. Also added some of those spine pieces, the bar pieces, to represent kind of a beard. I think that looks really good. Then the Borok shield on his chest. Upside down Inika armor makes a return here with some more foliage all around. And similar upper leg setup to the Toa Mangai of Earth. Again the Vaki legs. Manta feet, more green details all around. And you get a cool looking model. Next up are the 4 Toa of Ice, which was a bit of a challenge because you want to resemble 4 Toa of Ice, but you also don't want it to look too similar. So we'll see what I came up with. This is the first one with the Kanoe Road, the Mask of Truth, the canon version in this case. And also Ice Shurikens, definitely inspired by Zane there from Ninjago of course. Basic color scheme, pearl light grey, white and black, and then similar attachment as Toa Neo. Kind of similar proportions to her. And then a tiny detail down at the lower leg, a holster with some of those chrome silver harpoons, because he can already throw the shurikens, so I thought, well, why not add these small harpoons that he can also throw. The second Toa of Ice with the Cow, the cannon mask in this case, and again I just love how those eyes shine through the mask. They really complement each other nicely. Gave him the propellers to aid him under the water, and then the custom arms with the upside down Mata arms there. The lever call shield makes a return. The custom upper legs there again, Vaki legs, a bit more icy details all around with those trans light blue pieces. Mata feet with the feet additions this time, which are used to turn this very basic weapon into an ice smasher staff, and then the other flame just goes in his other hand. Different color scheme too, because that's also a way in which you can differentiate between multiple Toa of Ice, as you'll see with the next one too. The third Toa of Ice with the Matatu, which is supposed to represent the Mask of Conjuring. My favorite mask power, definitely being able to program anything you need into a mask, but getting punished if you mess it up and make a single mistake. Very present in today's society with artificial intelligence and all that. 2 exciting weapons there, ice maces, used some of those axle pieces with Borok eyes, trying to create that offset effect. And I kind of imagine this one to be the veteran of the Toa of Ice who has seen it all and is the tough guy of the team. And then the last Toa of Ice with a completely different setup again. The upside down Mata arms make a return with Earthshock drills attached to the side. Also added the bushes there at the shoulder to make sure the Earthshock drills do not get in the way. The Hydroxon helmet, which is supposed to represent the Calyx. I felt that was a good substitute because we don't have that one in white or silver. 2 ice picks, inspired by the ice picks from Tsuruga Nuju. Again, the chrome silver harpoons. And then the longer Rakshi leg setup. But still, none of these Toa are longer than Toa Iruni. That was kind of like the balance I was going for. Keep them all a bit in the same proportion, while still making them unique, of course. So here are all the 4 Toa of Ice side by side. And you can see by combining different colors, different weapons, I was able to make 4 different Toa, but still have them be Toa of Ice. And then it brings us back to the full lineup. So that was this project. I started this back in 2021. And then worked on them off and on, and I'm really happy with how they all turned out eventually. They're now on display in my room, and I will also bring them to the LEGO convention, LEGO World in Utrecht later on, as I mentioned in a previous video. So that's it. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time when a new idea washes up on the shore of a golden beach.